If one of the things that you want to manifest is more money, more wealth, more abundance, more cash in the bank account, and you feel like there's something that's been blocking you, or there's too many doubts around the subject to allow yourself to manifest more of that abundance into your bank account, then I am positive that this video is going to give you the answers you've been looking for. Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name's Lucie, and on this channel I share all kinds of tips about personal development, spirituality, and how to become the best version of you. So, there are already plenty of videos on YouTube about how to make money online, how to start up your own side hustles. And this video is not one of those, okay? I do recommend to you that if you're looking for more financial abundance, then studying and learning your options and looking into ways of making more money, studying books that are all about how to increase your money and improve your money mindset and manage your money better. I'm going to be putting a few of them here that are my personal favorites. All of this kind of self-education about money, I believe, is so important now in the 21st century, after what we've all experienced in 2020, now more than ever before. Okay, so I'm not creating one of those videos because, as I said, there's plenty of those on YouTube. This video is specifically about the energetic part, the spiritual aspect to developing more money, the internal work that is required to help you to believe that you are worthy of having more money in your bank account, to help you to reprogram your mind to understand, I just dropped my pen, helping you to reprogram your mind to allow yourself to have more levels of wealth. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do a little test to see how you feel about money at the moment. So, first of all, I want you to picture the amount of money that's in your current bank account at the moment, and we're going to measure your financial thermostat, okay? So what that means, each and every person has a financial thermostat, which is sort of like where your vibrational point of attraction is when it comes to money. You may notice that you kind of have an average amount of money that is always in your account, especially if we're looking at the current account. Maybe you're adding more into your savings every month, that's fantastic. But what is your kind of baseline or point at which you always seem to have that number of money in your bank account? Sometimes it goes beneath, sometimes it goes above, but when it goes above, you feel more confident and comfortable, so maybe you spend more, and then when you get to that point, that's like your safe zone. And if it goes underneath, then you start to maybe worry about money and spend less, and then it goes back up to that baseline. So whatever that number is for you, it might be £500. I'm going to speak in pounds for this video. It might be £500, it might be £1,500, it might be £5,000, 10,000, 100,000. What is that number to you where you classify it as to be like the most common average number that you see in your bank account? If you can't answer this question, by the way, then you're not looking at your bank account enough, and that is lesson number one. You want to start becoming aware, paying attention to your money rather than maybe hiding your head in the sand. Because think about it this way, if you want to become a vibrational match to a version of you that has more money, do you think that that version of you that has more money is going to not be aware of how much money they have? That version of you is going to be clued up, going to be super aware. Now that we've got our thermostat of what your number is, picture your bank account now with the amount of money that you usually have, and then increase that number by 5,000. And then increase that number again by 5,000. And I want you to check in with how you feel vibrationally when we start to increase those numbers. So at what points do you still feel like, yeah, that looks like my account. Yeah, that could totally be for me. Yeah, that I could totally expect that kind of money to fall into my account within the next 6 months. And at what point do you reach numbers where you're just like, these numbers couldn't possibly be my bank account. I don't feel like this is me now. You know, gosh, wouldn't that be nice? But how on earth could I get that kind of money? Like, note where your ceiling in your mind, your mental financial ceiling is. And the benefit of that exercise is just so that you can do these checkups with yourself regularly to see where your beliefs about how much you're worth is at. Because here's the truth of the matter. It's very unlikely that you're going to be able to have more in your bank account than the amount that you feel comfortably belongs to you, right? Think about it this way, like a thermostat in a house. If you set your thermostat to a certain temperature, if the house gets hotter than that, the air conditioning will come in and cool it down, or the heating will at least turn off. And then if your house is colder than that level, then the heating will turn on. But it's always aiming to get to that level, that number that is put in as the thermostat. So your financial thermostat is kind of the same, and energetically you will do whatever it takes to get back to that thermostat. Now, before we learn how to increase your thermostat, let's look at why your thermostat is there in the first place. It's just a number, and other people have different numbers as their thermostat. So why have you got an idea in your mind that that should be your thermostat? Well, firstly, a huge part of what we believe we deserve in terms of money, based on beliefs that we've inherited from the people around us, mainly from our family. Okay, so if you grew up in a working or middle class family, you probably heard phrases like, oh no,
we can't afford that. People like us can't afford things like that. Don't be so greedy, that's way too expensive. Money doesn't grow on trees, you know. The rich just keep getting richer and the poor just keep getting poorer. Money's the root of all evil. Money can't buy happiness. There's more to life than money.
All of these phrases, even though they may have been said with the absolute best of intentions, are limiting beliefs that may still be subconsciously limiting you from earning absolute abundant amounts of money. People who aren't financially abundant, and if they haven't had access to these kinds of conversations like what we're having now, you know, and there's no possible way in their mind that they can think about how to become more abundant, then you justify the situation that you're at. So to make yourself feel better about where you're at currently, you make it out that rich people are all greedy and evil, that, you know, money isn't something that's easy to come by. You just block off things by saying that people like us, what, humans with two eyes, a nose and a mouth, people like us can't afford things like that. And all of these kinds of things are sort of justifications to cope with being at that place for a prolonged period of time. That's kind of why people say stuff like that. And yet when you pass it down to your children, then people start to repeat it. So they don't even know why they're saying it, but it's because that they heard it in the early years of their childhood, and so they pass it down as scripture, and then it gets passed down and it gets passed down and it gets passed down. So if you come from a long line of people who weren't born into wealth, there's a high chance that you were exposed to all of those kinds of belief systems that I've just mentioned. So now that we've talked about the problems, let's talk about some solutions, okay? So first of all, to talk about how we can change inherited beliefs, we're going to start off with a very out there, very spiritual technique. Okay, I'm sure you guys are up for it if you follow my channel. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes. We're going to take some deep breaths and we're going to connect to our ancestors. So close your eyes with me right now. Take some deep breaths in and out. And I want you to picture all of your ancestors. I want you to picture them stood around you in a circle, okay? Even if they were negative people in real life, if they've passed on to the other side, all they can feel is love now. They love you unconditionally. That's the beautiful thing about that other realm. So here they are. They all love you. None of them are judging you, okay? And I want you to call upon any of your ancestors who did not have access to wealth. And I want you to ask them now. I call upon all of my ancestors who did not have access to wealth. I applaud you and I love you. And I ask you to help me to break free of our family pattern. And support me to create a new, more abundant and wealthy relationship with money. Take a deep breath in. I want you to picture all of your ancestors, any of them who may have come from very challenging, difficult backgrounds during the wartime, taught you things about how money was not in abundance for you. And I want you to track it back. I want you to even start picturing ancestors from generations that you don't even know about, like ancestors 5 generations above you, 10 generations above you, 20 generations above you. Okay? And because the knowledge that you have now may have been passed down from generations that far back. So I want you to speak to all of your ancestors going back 20 generations and beyond. And let's ask them again. Ancestors, thank you so much for your support, for your protection and guidance. If you did not have access to wealth in your physical lifetime, I ask you all to support me and allow me to break free from those financial patterns, to create a new pattern of wealth for our family. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Now what we're going to do is we're going to speak to any of our ancestors who did have access to wealth. Okay, take a deep breath in. I'm calling upon any and all of my ancestors who had an abundant relationship with money and wealth. Thank you for paving the way. I applaud you